The night before my wedding, while everyone else was drinking champagne and laughing in the living room, I found myself standing in the kitchen with my mother, just the two of us. It wasn't planned. I had gone in to grab a glass of water, and there she was, leaning against the counter like she'd been waiting. There was something about her eyes that night distant, heavy, as if she'd aged years in just one day. I remember I smiled and asked if she was okay, and she looked at me like I was a ghost. Then she said it. Just 5 words. "You were never meant to know this." I froze, glass still in my hand, heart instantly beating faster. My mouth was open, but no words came out. I thought maybe she was talking about some silly family tradition or some old secret about a dress or a ring, but deep down, I knew it wasn't that simple. Her voice had this tremble I'd never heard before, not even when Grandma died. I put the glass down slowly and said, "Know what?" She took a long breath, the kind that fills a room with dread. "Sit down," she whispered. So I did, and she just stared at me for a moment, like she was trying to memorize my face before breaking it. Then she said, "There's something I've hidden from you your entire life, not to hurt you, but because I thought it was the right thing, back then." She reached into a drawer and pulled out a small envelope, yellowed on the edges, sealed but old. "This came in the mail 2 days ago," she said. "From someone I thought we'd never hear from again." My hands trembled when I took it. No name on the front, just my first name, in shaky handwriting I didn't recognize. "Who sent it?" I asked. She didn't answer that. Instead, she sat across from me, folded her hands in her lap, and looked me straight in the eye. "Before you open it, I need you to know something. Your father, the man you've always known as your father, is, not your biological dad." And just like that, the room spun. For a few seconds, I couldn't breathe. Not cry, not scream, not even think. It was like someone had pulled the floor out from under me. All I could manage was a whisper, "Are you serious?" She nodded, and I noticed her lip trembling too. "He knows. He always knew. He chose to raise you as his own, because he loved you, and he loved me. Even after—" Her voice trailed off. "Even after what?" I asked. "After I told him I was pregnant and that the child wasn't his," she said. "He still married me. He said we'd never speak of it again." I looked down at the letter in my hand. Suddenly it felt heavier. "Why now?" I asked. "Why tell me the night before my wedding?" And she said, "Because if I don't, someone else will." That's when I knew this wasn't just a confession. This was a warning. I didn't open the letter right away. I sat there for a while, just holding it, as if the paper itself might burn my hands. My mother stayed quiet, her eyes now red but still dry. I think she was waiting for me to scream or cry or storm off, but I couldn't do any of those things. I just felt hollow. Like someone had scooped out everything I thought I knew about myself and left me with a shell. Eventually, I stood up and walked out of the kitchen. I didn't say a word to her. I went to my childhood bedroom, closed the door, and stared at the letter for what felt like hours. I kept trying to imagine what it could possibly say, who had sent it, and why now after all these years after I had lived my entire life believing one version of the truth. My heart pounded as I finally slid my finger under the seal and opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, handwritten, shaky, uneven, but clearly done with care. It read, "If you're reading this, then your mother never told you the truth. I've tried to stay away, but you deserve to know who you are. I never stopped thinking about you. You were born out of something brief but real, and I wish I could have been the one to raise you. I'm sorry I left. I'm sorry I let her decide. But I'm here now, and I would like to meet you if that's something you want. I live in Oak Ridge, just outside of town. If you come to the lake on Sunday morning, I'll be waiting." There was no name, just the letter, and an address scribbled in the corner. I stared at the signature line, blank except for a single letter, D. My hands were shaking. My breath came in short, uneven bursts. A part of me wanted to scream at the wall, to tear the letter into 1,000 pieces, but another part quiet, deep inside, felt something else. Not anger, not betrayal, curiosity. Who was this man? And what did he mean when he said, "I let her decide"? Did my mother push him away? Did she erase him from my life on purpose? Was he dangerous? Or was he just young, scared, and shut out? I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling while memories kept flashing through my mind: birthday parties, school plays, hospital visits, all the times I thought my dad was just being quiet. Now I was wondering if he was being silent for a reason. The next morning I woke up early and went for a drive. I didn't tell anyone. Not my fiancé, not my maid of honor, and definitely not my mother. I just drove. I needed air. I needed to feel the wind on my face and make sense of the noise inside my head. I ended up parked outside the address written in the letter. It was a cabin, small, plain, tucked into the edge of some trees by a lake. Nothing about it screamed danger. It looked peaceful, like the kind of place someone goes when they've been running too long. I didn't go in. I didn't knock. I just stared for a long time, trying to imagine the man who lived there. What did he look like? Did I look like him? Did he have my eyes? My smile? Did he regret what happened? I drove home before anyone noticed I was gone. My wedding was just hours away. I stood in front of the mirror in my white dress, smiling for photos, accepting hugs and compliments, but my mind was somewhere else. It was still in that kitchen, still on that letter, still replaying her voice over and over again. You were never meant to know this, but now I did, and there was no going back. I thought I could keep it buried for just one day, get through the ceremony, smile for the photos, pretend that everything was still whole. But it didn't work like that. The weight of what I knew followed me down the aisle, clung to me like a second veil. I caught my mother's eyes during the vows. She smiled, but it was tight, careful. She knew I had read it. She could tell. After the ceremony, during the chaos of hugs and clinking glasses, I slipped away for a moment of air. That's when I saw Himmy Dad, the man who raised me, standing near the edge of the venue's garden, hands in his pockets, staring into the distance. I walked up beside him, heart pounding, unsure of what to say. Did you know I got the letter? I asked softly. He didn't flinch, didn't even look at me. Yes, he said. Your mother told me you opened it. There was a long silence. He finally turned toward me. I always knew this day would come, he said. I just hoped it would come after you were ready. You should have told me, I said. My voice wasn't angry. It was tired. Raw. I know, he replied. But I didn't want you to ever feel like you were unwanted, or less than, or caught in the middle of something that wasn't your fault. I looked at him then, really looked at him. This was the man who had held my hand at the doctor's office, taught me how to drive, cried when I graduated college. The man who fixed my bike and brought me soup when I was sick. And suddenly, all the biology in the world didn't seem to matter. But the letter had been written. The truth was out, and I couldn't unknow it. Do you hate him? I asked. The man who... I couldn't even finish the sentence. He shook his head. I don't know him, but I don't hate him. I made my choice. I chose your mother. I chose you. There was a lump in my throat. Something about hearing that I chose you cut through everything else. I saw his house, I whispered. I didn't go in, but he wants to meet. My father nodded slowly. You don't need my permission, he said. But if you go, just be sure you're ready for what you might find. Sometimes people from the past don't live up to the picture we've painted of them. I didn't respond. There wasn't anything else to say. I hugged him longer than usual, and when I pulled away, I saw his eyes had turned glassy. But he smiled. That night, after the reception, after the guests were gone and the music had stopped, I sat on the hotel balcony alone, still in my dress, barefoot, clutching that same letter. I didn't know what I would do yet. I didn't know if I'd go to the lake on Sunday or if I'd toss the letter in the fire. What I did know, what I felt deep in my bones was that everything I believed about my family had cracked. But what surprised me was this. What stood underneath the cracks was still love. Flawed, complicated, but real. My mother had lied. My father had kept quiet. But they had loved me, fiercely, in the only way they knew how. And maybe that wasn't perfect, but maybe that was enough. The next morning, I packed a small bag and got in the car. The letter was still in my coat pocket. I didn't tell anyone where I was going, just drove toward the lake. Not for answers, not for revenge, but maybe, just maybe, for peace.